Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, trader Steve here at Logic FX Trading. Welcome to our daily FX analysis. No major economic news today, guys. Yesterday we had GDP growth rate in Australia coming in at 3.9, above 3% forecast. United States market and manufacturing PMI come in slightly lower than expected, and ISM manufacturing PMI come in slightly above expected. So nothing much to write home about there. Just in general, the US economy seems to be pretty good. Obviously, there's potential headwinds, um, particularly with inflation. And it now seems like the Fed have switched from their plan of 6 months ago, where they were, well, it's not that it seems, they have switched from their plan 6 months ago, which was they had decided that the inflation was transitory, and the most important thing was to, let me just kill that. There's a couple of alarms going off there, guys. And the plan was to get employment back up to normal levels. But over the last couple of days, they've had to hold their hands up and, and run with what the market was saying all along, which was this isn't transitory and you need to do something about it. So they have been tapering. They're going to continue to taper. They may speed that up, and we could see interest rate hikes next year. But guys, there's such a range of opinions about this that I was listening to Bloomberg earlier, and they come out with a statement and said there are those who know, and there are those that don't know what's going to happen, and those that don't know that they don't know what's going to happen. In other words, nobody knows, but there are some people who think they know, but the reality is they don't. That's where we are at the minute, and it does make analysis and forecasts very difficult, but we will continue to persevere. The one thing I would say is that the dollar will stay strong, guys. The idea that the dollar was going to push up to 125 to the euro just is not going to happen. And I know we've said that a few weeks ago, that that's not going to happen. The target didn't come from me. That target came from Goldman Sachs, or it might have been Morgan Stanley, one of them anyway. And I didn't really believe in it. I just stuck it in on the chart to say, well, listen, this is what they're saying. Just going over to here. Do you remember we had the green line in here somewhere? Let's just put it on here, which would make it easier. They had we still have it in there. There's the target that they had, guys. That's off. I put that in as an intermediate target. This is going to continue to go short, guys. And if we look at it on DXY, sorry, we'll come back to that in a moment. Let me just finish what we were saying over here, because I want to look at this was yesterday. Obviously today, no major news. And then tomorrow, we've got unemployment change, unemployment rate in Canada, non-farm payrolls and unemployment in the US, and then with ISM non-manufacturing PMI. A lot of information coming out tomorrow. The markets are really volatile at the minute, guys. They're jumping all over the place, and it's actually horrible when that happens. If we get off the FX market and just talk about the stock markets yesterday, up to lunchtime here in UK, in fact, just after, say, 2:30 yesterday, which is when the US market's up, my account was up 1.5%. I thought, oh, well, here we go. Brilliant. We're over the whole Omni Crom saga, and we're back to people buying the dip, and this is fantastic. And a few hours later, it was the absolute reverse, guys. We went from 1.5% up to 1.5% down, which is a swing of 3% in a day. It's madness, guys. But part of this is all to do with overvaluation. We did say, going back a lot of months ago, and I know we're talking about stocks here, guys. We did say a lot of months ago that the growth stocks were way overvalued, but people kept piling into them, and it was very, very frustrating to keep missing these moves. When they started coming off, I did start buying into them, and now the whole account is in the red because of it. But I'm not overly concerned about that. I've just had to take a much longer term view on the account as a whole rather than the jumping in and out that we were able to do earlier in the year. Remembering that the only reason we were jumping in and out was that I didn't believe that the market was going to continue to go up, and therefore I didn't want to get caught in the downside. Things could have been much worse, because if I had continued to buy in at the top, then the drawdown that I'm in at the moment would have been much, much worse. But I've managed to get, we were 10% at the start of the week, and I was concerned about that, 10% in cash, and I've moved that back to 30% by taking money off the table, guys. And how I was doing that was anything that went into the green during the week, I took it off the table, guys. And there were a few things I bought back into. Stone Co. I bought into. It was up 7% yesterday at lunchtime. And I thought, just hold on to it. And it came back down to zero in the afternoon. And I just thought, you know what, get out of it. And I just closed it for a very, very, a couple of dollars profit, as it were. But a bit annoying when things like that happen, guys, because the plan the whole year was, if you get 5% or above, particularly if you get it in a day, just take it off the table. And I didn't do it. And the reason that I didn't do it was I thought we're over Omicron. They know that it's there. They know that it's already escaped South Africa and the market's recovering. Why did it switch from, for me, 1.5% up to 1.5% down? A single case of Omicron was found in the United States. I mean, come on, we knew it was there. We knew it was there. I talked about it yesterday. I said, yeah, it's in Europe, it's in the UK, it's already escaped South Africa, it has to be in the United States. And then what do they think they were going to do? And able to lock the whole country down? That's already been proven. You can't do it, guys. You can slow the progress down, but you can't lock down. This thing will get out and about unless you're going to completely isolate you. If you're North Korea and you lock your borders and don't allow anyone in and anyone out, then maybe the virus won't get in, but it'll still get in because you still have to trade, guys. So the idea that it's not going to get around the world is madness. We still don't know how bad it's going to be. We still don't know if the vaccines we already have are going to be effective against it. And until that information comes out, the market's going to panic and it's going to overreact, guys. So with all of that said, and I know this isn't anything to do with FX, guys, we're kind of going back to, well, I'm not going to do it on a daily basis, but in this video, we're going back to the way we used to do these up to a few months ago. And I just want to have a quick look at these. Kramer says start buying these bargain basement stocks now before Omicron fears pass. So he's basically saying, we've been down this road before. We'll get vaccinated against it. Worst case scenario, they'll develop another vaccine. So he's saying the likes of PayPal, Disney, MasterCard, and Win, which isn't one that I know, pile into, well, not pile into, guys, buy the dip. I'm not suggesting you do that. And the headline's the thing that I'm talking about, the fact that he's saying buy the dip. This is the madness of crypto, guys. As you know, I've dipped my toe into crypto. I was in Polygon yesterday. It shot away up by 15% at one stage and then started coming back. When I got back down to 12%, I got out of it. Shiba Inu, it's a nothing, guys, up 33% a day. It's madness. It's absolutely madness. By the way, when you buy these, you buy them by the million. When you're, it's like $40 for a million of them, or 10,000 off them, or whatever. I think it's by the million. You buy them. Yeah, look at the numbers. 0.00003. So if it goes to 0.0004, it's gone up by 25%, 33%, guys. That's right, isn't it? 33%. So madness. If you want to play around with it, understand that you could lose all your money, but you could also double your money. But don't be using too much of your money on it. And then this guy's playing games, and I don't know what's to do with his autism, or is it Asperger's? He's got, I think it's autism. Isn't Asperger's a form of autism? Um, you know, he said a way back, and that, yet again, this is nothing to do with currencies, guys, but it just, he niggles me at times. He's great. He's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But he plays games and he gets away with it. A few weeks ago, start of November, might have been end of October sometime, he came out and he put a, sorry, if we go way back to the start of the year, he said that Tesla stock was way overvalued. And from there, it almost doubled in value. So clearly, not only was it way overvalued, it was unbelievably overvalued. Then he comes out a while back and starts putting out tweets to people saying, should I sell some of my stock and pay my tax on it type thing. And in other words, he wasn't making that decision. He was kind of being a man of the people, putting it out there and seeing whether Twitter thought he should sell or whatever. So he sells a load of Tesla. But not because he thinks it's overvalued this time, but because he's doing the right thing. Well, it's nonsense. He sold it because it was overvalued, but he didn't want to be seen to be selling it because it's overvalued, because it would have caused a run on the share price. But he still gets away with it, guys. What's the SEC all about? I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of the rules, but it certainly looks like he's manipulating the market. Anyway, it's come off a bit. It needs to come off an awful lot more before I would be interested in it. But, this guy's just a massive manipulator. He makes comments about Shiba and it goes up. He makes comments about Dogecoin and it goes up. Then he makes comments that it's overvalued, or he makes a joke about it and then it drops. What sort of world is it? Now, one of the commentators today, who, like myself, is frustrated because the world seems to be a bit mad at the minute, or not just at the minute, but over this last couple of years. And he said, the time for hopes, dreams, themes, and meme stocks needs to come to an end, and we need to get back to valuation stocks. We need to be able to value what a company is in real terms instead of prices going up because people have hope, dreams, memes, and themes. And I agree completely. And I do think that going into 2022, we're going to have, just to finish this little rant over, get it over with, we're going to see, all right, let's just go do this while it's here because I need to take it off. Oh, we'll push it up there. We're going to see these being the indexes, they're going to have to flatten out, guys. It's been absolute madness over this last year or so. Look at it, guys. That has to flatten. Now, as I said before, does that mean it's going to flatten this week or next week or this month? And I don't know the answer to that, but what I do know is eventually this has to start running flat or correct. And I hope it's not that. I hope it's more a case of, over the next year. So it's going to run flat, guys. Now, within that, there'll be sectors that'll do well. So we don't need to panic. But that's where the valuation comes in. We got to try and find those things that the market has ignored because everybody's behaving like a madman, a mad person. Got to include our female friends. um, madness has been prevailing, guys. This is madness. Now, I know the US economy is growing, but this growth, everything's priced in. It's all priced in, guys. So we need, this will run flat for a while, and during this period, it's not going to be as easy as it was for everyone to make money, but you're going to have to look for the value. So that's where I'm going to be focusing my attention over the year to come, folks. Just back to currencies. Let's get on with it. A little bit of a rant there. I'm a bit fed up with I'm not getting emotional about it, guys. I'm just a little bit fed up with with the way things have gone this last month or so, guys. I worked really hard all year, on target for 20%, and bang, within a month, everything's been wiped out, and it can be annoying. Now, I know that next month, the month after, or going into the next year, a lot of the over selling will start to come back up, and we'll get that money back. But it's a little bit annoying, and this is more to do with eToro than to do with, if it was a private account, I wouldn't be concerned about it. The problem is your statistics are out there, and it looks like you don't know what you're doing. That's what I'm a bit annoyed about, guys. Okay, pound New Zealand, pound CAD, pound Euro, pound Oz, all gone long. And then US CAD just went off there as we were talking. So let's get over here. Let's start with the yen as we have been recently. Obviously, with the volatility that's going on at the minute, it's getting a little bit more difficult to call this yen short, folks. So as I said yesterday, just leave the yen alone for a while, because we've had our little bit of fun with it. We did call it short from up here, and not that I've been particularly successful at trading it, but we got the analysis correct, guys. And now it's a little bit of, well, we've gone so far. What's next? I don't know, so let's leave it alone. And it's okay not to know, folks. What you do when you don't know is you don't trade it. DXY valuations will stay high. As we've drawn there, obviously you could get a bit of a drawdown on it, and then it'll push back up again. But the dollar's not going. I don't think the dollar's going to do that, because the U.S. economy's strong, inflation's coming in. It's got the double whammy of being double whammy's not the right term, but it's got a strong economy, but it's also seen as a safe haven, guys. So, while we're still in these uncertain times and we've got inflation headwinds, I can see the dollar staying strong. What's going to happen today? Well, obviously we don't deal with it in that way. We don't go on a day-to-day basis, but I would be looking for it to push long. I'd be happier if it dropped a little bit further, in order to give us a bit further to run at it, and also exhaust this downside to it, which may or may not happen, guys. The euro, obviously, we're still looking for that to drop, but does it drop from here, or does it push up a little bit more before it drops? The pound, well, I've said stay away from the pound, because I could see strength coming in the pound. And if we've got the dollar going long and the pound going long, then they're just going to cancel each other out. Now, obviously, there'll be movement in one direction or other, but I'm not going to try and predict it. More likely short, but it's not going to be the trade, guys. Aussie continuing to push down. What we were looking for there was maybe a correction. So, the alarm wasn't there for me to say, hey, let's trade it up. It was just there to let me know if the dollar is pulling back. So if you were here, you'd have to have this, giving you a correction, as we said yesterday. And then if you got that, you would look to trade it down. And it's the same with this, guys. You need this to come back up a bit to give you. I'm gonna go put this where I think the trade is, to give you that. But as we said with DXY, it could pull back quite deeply, guys, before it goes. US CAD, a little bit more difficult to predict. Other than it looks like the oil price is, I don't think it's going to accelerate long in the medium term, probably be the best term for it. And therefore, there could be a bit of CAD weakness until the oil price starts to push up and commodities in general start to push up again. That they've dropped off, guys. A lot to do with one of the things we're talking about today in Bloomberg was about demand, and how demand for things can often fall off if, and this is more to do with retail products, but this is to do with human psychology, guys, and it's they were specifically talking about iPhones and things like that. Now, I've never bought an iPhone in my life, guys, so I'm no expert in iPhones. But there's a whole pile of people out there. Every time the latest phone comes out, let's put it that way, they rush down and they buy it. But Apple's come out recently and said the demand for their new phone isn't as high as they thought it was going to be. And they were then discussing the reasons for that. And part of that is, and we're going to see this through the retail and possibly into the rest of the economy, part of that is that I'm not, and there'll be a lot of people like me, if I can't get my hands on something, I don't care. I'll get it in 6 months' time, or I'll get it when the rush is over. You know, you see these people on, you can down to queue up to get a book because it's the first day it's come out, or queue up to get a phone because it's the first day it's come out. That's not the majority of people, guys. The majority of people aren't interested. You know, even with movies, there was a new movie out. It's in the cinema. I'll go twice a year to the cinema, and the majority of movies I watch, it's a year or two later when I see it for $5 or £5 in the local Tesco's because it's gone from the cinema to DVD, and now the DVD's been out for 6 months at the top price, and now people stop buying it, so they drop the price. And I'll go, oh yeah, I fancied watching that movie, I'll pick it up. And I'm sure the majority of people in the world are like that. You get the people who rush out because they want the latest thing, but most people don't, guys. So to cut a long story short, as I never do, um, what they're saying is that the drop in demand for iPhones is because people who would normally rush out to get them know that they're not there. They know that they're going to struggle to get them. So they've realized, oh, what's the point? We'll wait. And that will be across the board for an awful lot of retail things, guys, where people just can't be annoyed. You know, you go down to buy it, you put your order in, and you get it 6 months later. Well, who wants that? If I want a new phone, I want it now. I don't want it in 6 months' time. So maybe I buy an older new phone. You know what I mean? An older model, a new version of an older model, which is what I've actually done this year. Instead of waiting for the latest Samsung, which I always buy Samsungs. I bought one from 2 years ago, guys. It's a new phone for me, but it's not the latest, and that's kind of what people are starting to do. So, from that point of view, that may be the thing that starts to slow inflation down, as people say, do you know what? I can't be annoyed. I'm not paying that price. It's even the same to go out, a night out, guys. It seems to be costing so much more than it used to. And I know we kind of get used to it, but at the same time, what you do is you still go out, but you don't go out as often, you know. So that will, for me, start to bite into the high inflation numbers, and they will start to come off. US Swiss, um, yeah, this is a safe haven against a safe haven, guys. I wouldn't bother trying to trade that. US Swedish, well, you can see what I've been saying here. I think it's going to continue long, but you're going to need a correction to get into it. If you're already in it, obviously that's down to um, personal trading strategy, whether you take your profit or whether you want to hang on in, allow it to draw down, and then wait for it to go up. Wouldn't be surprised if we got a nice little zigzag in here, and then it started to go long again. US yen, yet again, safe haven against safe haven at the minute, so I'm not overly excited about it. But I do think that arrow will come true sooner rather than later, and obviously I shouldn't have got out of my position. I panicked as it broke down through there, and I just thought to myself, do you know what? I'm getting out of this. Because maybe that's running flat, maybe it drops before it goes. I don't know that, but I certainly didn't want to be in it, guys. I wanted money off the table so that as stocks come down deeper, I've got something to buy back in with. And that was the bigger strategy, guys. Gold, I don't have any idea what gold's going to do. If inflation continues, it may well push up, but it's also difficult for the gold price to push up as the dollar gets stronger. because you're getting more gold for your dollars. So it's difficult to see an upside to that in a minute. And silver as well. Obviously, I get into it for a hedge, but hasn't really worked out that well. Bitcoin, it's still in this. Can it break out? Certainly it can, but it's pulled off as other altcoins have pushed up yesterday. As I say, Polygon, Matic was up 12%. Shiba was up 33%. Now this is madness, guys. You can't rely on that as investment. It has to be something you play with, because you could very easily go to zero in these things as well. So be very, very careful. And there is that fantastic feeling when you get into something and a day later it's up 10 or 15 or 20%, and then you don't take it, and the next thing you know it's dropped the way down again, and then you feel terrible, and then it's up and you feel great. Guys, get away from that. That's no way to trade. If you're going to get into a cryptocurrency, you need to get into it and forget about it, and in a year or two come back and it's quadrupled in price or whatever it is. I don't literally mean forget about it, but don't get emotional about it when it goes up and down. I've bought into Solana. Keep forgetting how to pronounce that. Let's go over to here. Solana. And it's done okay. But I'd say it's done okay. I'll get in over here somewhere, guys, so I'm kind of breaking even with it. But I have get in and out of it a couple of times as well. I need it to do that and beyond. And that's the plan. Can it do that in the meantime? It can. I'm just going to stick with it. I believe in it in so much as you can believe in a cryptocurrency. Listen, they're here for the future. And the thing that I'm aware of is that I don't want to sit in 5 years' time and it's the thing. And you go, do you know what? 5 years ago, I could have got in that at XYZ price. And that's why I've put a few $1,000s into it, guys. Gold, we talked about. Bitcoin, Ethereum. It's also pulled back a little bit yesterday. Oil. Now, there's more drawdown in the oil. And this is to do with fears about lockdowns, etc. But guys, we're not going to get the same level of lockdown that we had before. Populations won't tolerate it. Young people think they're immune. They're not going to tolerate it. Governments can't afford it, so we're not going to get it. One of the things that's being talked about in Germany and Austria is the idea that there's lockdowns for unvaccinated people. Now, obviously, it doesn't mean you're locked in your house, but it means you can't get access to certain places and certain services, which I really think you need to be bringing things like that in. I know we're a democracy and we're all about freedom, but you know what? You're not free to drive your car at whatever speed you want. You're not free to there's lots of things in the democracy you're not free to do. So the idea that you can go around unvaccinated and mix with other people, madness. People have to get vaccinated. It's time that governments clamp down on it, folks. Just grab them off the street, stick a needle in their arm, and have it over done with in 10 seconds. Madness. I don't know where that came from. Just frustrating. A bit frustrated today, guys. Eurocad. Yeah, it's going long because because the oil price is going short. I wouldn't believe too much in that. And the same with this. Commodity prices are dropping. The euro's been pushing up because the dollar's been pulling back. But eventually it'll go short eventually, guys. Euro New Zealand, probably the same. There's a 5 wave in there. It's pushed on up, maybe a little double top. Need to get down a little bit. And by the way, I'm not in any currencies at the minute. I'm not in love with currencies at the moment, guys. Haven't been for about 6 months or so. It's too volatile at the minute, guys. Too unpredictable, I suppose, is the word I'm looking for. Here we have, we pointed this out the other day, 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly a fifth wave, although it is a 3, guys. So I'm not sure how much you can count on that. We've had a pullback. It's pushed back up. We're coming into there. I would wait to see it breaking down, then see if it gives you a setup, and that will correspond to the dollar going long, folks. Euro yen. Once we get over this ridiculous reaction to Omicron, this will start to come up because the yen starts to come back, guys. Euro Swiss, possibly the same conclusion. I don't know what I put that X in there for, guys. Oh, what I'm saying is don't be jumping into this here. If we get out of if and when we get over Omicron, this will start to come up. Pound CAD, there's the push up. Now, I have been saying over the last lot of weeks, guys, that pound's going to go longer. It's a bit of a horrible move. And it's also the situation there that you wouldn't want to get involved there. But if you're involved from down here, get your stop to zero. It could push on up, guys. This one, I sat and looked at it yesterday. I had that like that, and I moved it and I moved it and moved it as it was coming up. And each time I said, get into this. Do you remember I was in back here and then I accidentally closed it here. Let's see if it can push on up a little bit, guys. And then maybe give you a setup to continue on up. And then maybe we have some sort of channel going up here. Let's change this. Is this a thing? And then you buy the dip and you trade it up. Aussie New Zealand, something similar. You could draw a very similar thing in there. It's not beautiful, but you get the gist, guys. You don't need to spend too much time on these things. So you're looking for a dip spot. Maybe that would have been the place to get involved. Pound Swiss, not at the minute, guys, until we find out what's going to happen with Omicron. Pound euro, it's running flat, possibly upside to it once the dollar starts to drop. Pound yen, yet again, you're waiting to see what's going to happen. But if the not, do you see that? Possibly an ending diagonal in there, guys, and this may well turn and start to come long. That would be determined. I just get the feeling that this Omicron's going to be much ado about nothing. I could be wrong, guys, but I get the feeling it's much ado about nothing, guys. Folks, Aussie yen, excuse me again. Yep, got into it, looking for the breakout up here, dropped, got out of it. Probably would have been having kittens if I hadn't have got out of it because it's pushed on further down. Leave it. Once Omicron's over, it'll start to come back up. Aussie New Zealand, I'm looking for that to break out. Didn't get into it the other day. I've talked about it. It's a zigzag, guys, waiting for it to break out. Aussie Swiss, same thing. At least I'm getting the names right today, guys. It was all over the place yesterday. Not ready for it yet, but look at it. It's an ending diagonal, possibly up there. Aussie CAD running flat. I never predict that one, guys. I should actually take it off because I never know anything about it. I don't know how to value one of those economies against the other. They're very, very similar economies, guys. Swiss yen. I'm looking for this to go long, but just give it a bit of time. I think there's more upside to it. CAD Swiss. I will want to trade this long, but yet again, we're waiting to see what's happening with Omicron, what's happening with the oil price. Omicron, that's the right word, isn't it? Sometimes I forget. Getting old. I turned 60 there last week, guys, on Sunday. Oh, 60. Where did it all go? It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's pulling down at the minute. It will come back up again. It's been running in a flat. I wouldn't try and jump into the dagger, wait for it to stop. When it starts coming back up, maybe we get into it, get a stop to zero, and then see if it will get us back up to the top. CAD yen. Yet again, that is all down to Omicron. It's down to 61.8. Retracement there. It doesn't mean you jump in there. There's an ending diagonal on there. If we go into that on the 1 hour time scale, it certainly looks like an ending diagonal, doesn't it? Yep. So they're all showing ending diagonals, guys. The place to have an alarm on this is there. So I flip flop with currencies recently. I sit back and I go, do you know what? These are terrible. I'm going to stop trading them. And then I do the analysis and I go, yeah, there's an opportunity there. So let's just keep your powder dry until we see good opportunities, guys, and possibly there. CAD JPY. Because that's the third time we've had that ending diagonal set up. New Zealand yen, yet again, this is one that I got out of with a loss. Ending diagonal setting up there, guys. Possible trade in that direction. Don't jump into the day, guys. When it's time to get into it, I'll say, if we get to the point where it's time to get into it, I'll say to you. New Zealand CAD, don't know about that. I know as little about that one as I do about the Aussie CAD, folks. New Zealand Swiss, possible yet again ending diagonal developing in there. So I know we drew that, but we did say, guys, when I draw these, for anyone that's new, we're not suggesting you jump in at the bottom. What we're saying is that once we see our signals, our alarm goes off, we get a setup, fundamentals are okay, then from that sort of point there, we would look to try and see if we could trade it up. And then obviously your strategy, where you put your stop losses, up to yourself, but get your stop loss to zero reasonably quickly, so that if you're wrong, at least you're not losing money, folks. Okay, that's it for today, guys. Speak to you all again tomorrow. Bye for now.